Next on the CrossFit Games Update Show, regionals or history. We'll take a closer look at the athletes who are heading to Carson. Some Games veterans are going to be spectators this year. What does the future hold for them? And we'll run down our top 10 moments from the last 4 weeks. The CrossFit Games Update Show starts now. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the CrossFit Games Update Show. I'm Sean Woodland with Pat Sherwood and Nicole Christensen. 4 weekends, 17 regional competitions are behind us. And if this is any indication of what we're going to see at the Games, please, for the love of God, get the end of July here right now.
Well, the regionals were insane, but now think about what we're going to have, right? 17 regions, 4 weekends, amazing performances that stick out in your head. You're going to take the best from every single region, put them all in the same pot, and they're going to battle it out head to head.
And all the stuff that we've been talking about for the past 4 weeks on, was it an advantage to be the first week of regionals or the last week? Did athletes learn from what previous athletes had done in workouts and strategies? They knew the workouts in advance. All that's out the window. We go to the true unknown and unknowable. We bring them all into the same field and say, have at it.
Clean slate.
So if you watch any of the regional competitions, it's very clear to see that this sport continues to evolve very quickly. And with that being said, what it takes to make it to the Games now, as opposed to just a couple of years ago, there is a big difference there.
Yeah, Sam Briggs comes to mind in this area. She took a hiatus from her job so that she could train for the 2013 Games. And when you think about that, having that extra time allows you to hit workouts with more intensity. It allows you to sleep better, recover better, and do all the things that you need to do to be able to qualify. Now, you could say, well, Sam could qualify for the Games probably without that much focus, but this lady wants to win the CrossFit Games, and that's the difference that she sees that she needs to make.
And it's awesome to have that time for sure, but let's dispel the myths in the room is that all these guys are sponsored athletes that do nothing but just work out all day long. Jason Khalipa, one of the fittest men on the planet, year after year, proven performer, perhaps also one of the busiest. He is a father. He is a husband. He owns multiple affiliates. He travels around the world on the Level 1 affiliate team training people, and on top of that, keeps his performance where it needs to be. And these days, you can't have any holes, so he maintains incredible intensity, incredible volume, and the variance. I mean, these guys are doing things like the other day, him and his crew, 2-hour run through the trails with a 20-pound weight vest. These guys covered 10 miles.
Now, wait a minute. He thinks there's going to be a ruck run at the Games? I heard that rumor, too.
Yeah, I think I tweeted that.
We talked with Jason, and he said for him, it's really pretty simple. It's just all about doing hard work.
There's no substitution for putting in the time and putting in the work. That's it. I mean, that's the bottom line. I'm talking, legitimate training sessions throughout the day where you take yourself to a place that you've never taken yourself before, consistently, multiple times a day. I'm not talking about going in there and patty kicking around. I'm talking about going in there, hitting a hard workout, going back home, going back in, hitting a hard workout, something that just crushes you mentally and physically, and you repeat that over and over again until you become just acclimated to pushing yourself and going to that place.
Well, there you have it, right? I mean, if that's what Khalipa's doing, let's do that tomorrow.
Let's do it right now.
No, wrong. Public service announcement. Most of you guys watching are not the top-level regional competitors from around the world. You're regular Joes trying to get fit. If you try to have 3 or 4 hard sessions like Khalipa with that level of intensity, you will probably hurt your fitness. But that's what these crazy top-level competitors need to do, and it's incredible.
And a lot of athletes that question how these top competitors get there, they think that there's a secret to it. Matt Chan gets the question all the time, why are you putting all your secrets out at the CrossFit competitors course? We're trying to beat you. Takeaway, he says most people are not going to do the work that it takes to get there, so he doesn't care if they know the secrets.
Amen to that.
And people are starting to figure this out, because when you look at the field for this year's CrossFit Games, nearly half are rookies.
But some rookies that we should be very excited about. I kind of caught up with Amanda Goodman earlier today. She's out of the Northeast region. Took second just by 1 point behind Danielle Horan. And I asked her, okay, you're a rookie. What are you going to do to prepare mentally and physically to perform your best like a veteran at the Games? And she said, well, first of all, last year she went as a spectator just to take in the scene, take in the vibe. Loved it. Made herself a plan to get back there. It obviously worked. She's a former gymnast. Took an honest assessment with her coach of where she needs to improve. She's good at the short, explosive moves because she did the vault, but she's working on building that long aerobic base. And then she's going to ask a former veteran like Jenny Davis, She'd be like, all right, so I feel good mentally and physically, but you're a veteran. You know all the little secrets, like what should I pack in my cooler, what goes on down in the tunnel, so she'll be as best prepared as possible.
And then you've got athletes like Lindy Wall, who are very characteristic of a number of athletes we saw across the different regions that had hovered in the top 10 for a couple years and made their move to qualify for the games this year. Now with Lindy Wall, she stands out because she did break her back in 2011, came back 7th at regional 2012. This year took first place in 3 events, which stands out in my mind, and qualified for the 2013 Reebok CrossFit Games. Now, when you think about that, you've got other athletes, Matt Hathcock, Emily Moore, who have hovered there in the top 10 and have a ton of experience that they now get to take forward with them to the games.
So the flip side of this is, as we say hello to these new faces, we are saying goodbye, at least temporarily, to some very familiar faces. A lot of veterans now on the outside looking in. They're going to be spectators at the games. The question is this the end of the road for them as far as a competitor is concerned?
And my short answer is no. It's sad right now not to see some familiar faces go back. Spencer Hendel pops into my mind. Beast out of the Northeast region. Been to the game several times, and it was characteristic for day 1 and 2 at regionals kind of not going so well and staging this epic comeback. And we thought that would happen again this year, and it didn't. But the point is, just because he didn't go this year doesn't mean his competitive career is over. Tried to get a hold of him on the phone, couldn't do it, got the next best thing. Austin Malleolo, his best buddy in the world, he's like, look, I've known Spence for years. I hit the workouts with him every day. This competition runs in this guy's blood. I guarantee he will be back the next year, bigger, better, faster, and stronger.
And the same thing happened with Annie Sakamoto. She placed 5th at the NorCal Regional after qualifying for the 2011 and 2012 games. Now, the takeaway for this is this happened with a number of athletes. They placed 4th or 5th, and athletes are selling themselves short if they think that in the thickness of the competition that has developed over the past couple years, that a 4th or 5th or even top 10 finish means that you no longer have what it takes to qualify for the games. Athletes are going to do what it takes. Annie Sakamoto is going to do what it takes to readjust things if she wants to and make a move to come back to the games.
You know, we talked with Annie Sakamoto, and she said she is disappointed she's not going to the games, but for her, the enjoyment comes from just competing.
See, I realize that I love to compete, and it's not even for the sake of the games per se. I just like to be on the floor with all those amazing athletes. I enjoy it, and so I definitely want to compete next year. And it's not that it's lit a fire necessarily for me to get back to the games. Again, if it's my year to make it, I'll make it, and if it's not, I'm just going to keep enjoying what I'm doing.
And I think this comment from Annie really highlights something that we often overlook as we're in the game season. Annie loves to compete for the love of the sport, and whether she goes to the games or not, it's still something she wants to pursue. Lindsay Smith stands out as an athlete again. She just slightly missed it. She took 4th place at the Central East Regional. We've seen her readjust her training over the years to stay at the top. There's no doubt that she's going to do the exact same thing in the following year.
When we come back, we will talk about the evolution of the team competition and have we entered the age of the super teams. That's coming up next. The CrossFit Games Update Show is brought to you in part by Progenics, the official performance nutrition sponsor of the 2013 Reebok CrossFit Games.
You always got to believe that you can do it. I tell that to people. It might not happen today, it might not happen this week, it might not happen next week, it might not even happen next year. But if you believe that it'll happen, you can do it, it will happen. It will. I know it will. I might not be the fastest, I might not be the most gymnasty out there, but I'll tell you what, I'm never going to stop. Ever stop believing in what I can do. No one can take that away from me.
Coming home. Definitely a favorite day. You don't realize how much you miss home until you're told you can't go back. I want to get back to gymnastics. I want to compete again. I want to get back to CrossFit. I want to go back to school. I want to graduate. You know, all those kind of things.
Welcome back to the CrossFit Games Update Show, and we turn our attention to the team competition, and it seems like we are now entering the era of the super team. So the question is, can these teams that aren't chock full of former Games competitors still do well?
Well, you're damn right they can, but it's not going to be easy, let's be honest, to beat a super team. The team competition, much like the individual side of the house, if you want to do well, you cannot have a glaring weakness these days. But you don't need the big name. CrossFit Fort Vancouver does well every year, probably can't name a big star in their team. An extreme example is CrossFit Atomic out of the South Central region. The top male on their team took 423rd in the region in the open. Chances are he's not a household name. And then big teams that everyone does know, like New England, because they do well every year, but they're not starstruck. You can't be like, oh, they're doing so well because of so-and-so and so-and-so. That's not the case. What they do have, they have excellent coaching, they have solid athletes, and they have a strategy to win.
I think the sport has changed. I think it's changed a lot, and we've learned a lot over the last couple of years. And one of the things that we learned going into this year is this whole past year, we did not emphasize team training really at all. We trained everybody as individuals, and it's benefited us because when you look at these workouts, that team event number 6 is really the only kind of get it done as a team workout that there is in the whole thing. All the others are just relays. So the team component, as terms of like teamwork, is kind of being pushed aside. It's just a matter of how fit are your athletes.
So going into the regionals, we're talking about teamwork. Got to develop teamwork. Well, now we hear from Ben Bergeron, and he says he's training his athletes as individuals. So how do we square the two of those?
But don't misunderstand what he's saying. He's not training his team members in like isolation from one another. What he's doing is just addressing each member as an individual and figuring out what would I need to do to make this person fitter. Now, if I do that for all the team members, I'm going to have a better team at the end of the day.
Right. I mean, for example, if you've got 2 athletes on your team, one's great at handstand push-ups and one's not, and you give them the same programming, that's not necessarily going to address the weaknesses and give you the best team as a whole once they come together.
Well, the best team right now is Hackspack, and they have 3 former Games competitors there, and that's got to be an advantage. I mean, they have a little bit of a head start here, don't they?
It's a huge advantage, right? I mean, they're starting with people that are generally fitter than most, and we're testing for fitness. That's a great place to be.
All right, but let's not overlook the fact that even when you start with 3 former individual competitors, you still have 3 non-former individual competitors.
True.
If they have weaknesses, that can affect your team just as much as any other team if they have holes in their system. Again, they have to work hard. We talk about this a lot, intensity, getting the good stuff. Teams still have to work hard, and we want it to win the games as a team. That we're still going to see that with the superstar teams.
So one thing that we saw this year with the team competition is that used to be kind of a one-way street. We used to see individual competitors go to the team side of things. This year, we see former teams competitors going individual and doing very well in the process.
Right. I mean, look at Jen Smith. I mean, she stands out in my mind from the Central East, took first place. She was a competitor on a team, CrossFit Maximus, for the past couple years. Did pretty well, though, grew up on the teams and decided this year she would go individual. Paid off for her with that first place finish, individual qualifier for the games. And really, so we see is it's a two-way street. You can kind of solidify your prowess there as an individual and go team, contribute there, or you can go back and say, I'm going to break out as an individual.
In another example, Alessandra Picelli out of NorCal. She mopped up her region with just 21 points. Half the number of points as Ashley Caribou in second place. And she, grew up in the teams also. And the teams are a great place to get more experience and mature as an athlete. You can't buy experience, you have to gain it. And this former team member from Diablo, her coaches watched her develop and eventually get to the point where they said, you know what? You're really too good. Like, if we kept you in the team, we'd feel bad. You need to go individual to shine, and that's exactly what happened.
When we come back, the evolution of the fan experience in the regionals and the games, and we'll have our top 10 moments from the past 4 weeks. Wardrobe for the CrossFit Games Update Show has been provided in part by Mizzen & Main. Tradition evolved.
The same way that CrossFitters have taken fitness to a new level, we do the same thing with the equipment.
Since being involved, owning affiliates, Rogue Fitness gear has made a gym owner's life that much better.
With CrossFit, they know what they want. And because we keep the work local in our shop, I can make changes based on their demands right away.
Do you have Rogue equipment? People look for that when they look at a gym. If it says Rogue on it, that's the mark of quality equipment.
Welcome back to the CrossFit Games Update Show. We have seen the evolution of the individual competition, we've seen the evolution of the team competition, and we've seen the evolution of the fan experience. All 17 regional events are rivaling what we have seen in the games in the past, and they are all showing that they are viable spectator events on their own.
Okay, so gone are the days where you just went to go see the regional because your friend or family member was competing. Now you go just because you want to see the action go down.
And even though some of us were stuck here in the studio with all the live feeds that we get to see more of the heats, more of the competition, really sharing more of the experience than ever before.
Well, the regionals are bigger and better. The games are going to be bigger and better, and we're actually getting set to release even more tickets to the StubHub Center. Rory McKernan was in Carson, California, and has a preview of what you can expect.
Hey, thanks guys. I'm at the site of the 2013 Reebok CrossFit Games with the general manager of the CrossFit Games, Justin Berg. Justin, I understand there's an important announcement for fans of the sport.
Yeah, we do. Tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, that's Wednesday, Pacific time, we're going to be releasing additional tickets to the CrossFit Games.
Nice. I know people would be psyched about that. They've been waiting, and the implications of those numbers are right behind us. Talk to me about the inclusion of the soccer stadium.
You're looking right now at about 24,000 seats, which they have in the lower bowl. We're also going to bring bleachers onto the field, up here on the berm so people can get their bronze on, but it's going to be a packed house full of CrossFitters.
Cool, and is it just more is better?
No, better's better. In this case, we've got shaded seats, we've got concert quality audio, and we're going to bring in additional Jumbotrons. This guy's not going to be enough, so we've got 3 additional Jumbotrons coming in.
Outstanding, and I mean, the competition always speaks for itself, but away from the competition floor, fans can expect some pretty cool stuff as well.
Yeah, there's 2 big areas where fans will really see a difference from last year. The first is going to be a 16,000 square foot air-conditioned beer garden that's going to be out in the vendor village. Vendor village is going to be way larger than anything we've done in the past, literally 3 times more vendors than we've ever had at the CrossFit Games.
Outstanding, and then we can also take that into the track this year too.
Yep, and the track's going to be a little different. So the track will host the Masters Tuesday through Thursday, but on Friday we're going to flip the script a little bit. We're going to open that up to spectators. That's going to become the new tent city. So people can actually post up around the perimeter. We'll leave some running lanes open. We're going to use the grass infield to do things like the Big Bob Challenge. We're going to have pushing sleds. So some of that custom games equipment that you might not be able to get your hands on, you'll be able to at the games this year.
That's fantastic. So it'll be where the barbecuing goes down, where the tailgating goes down, but also you could throw in a couple of games workouts from past years.
Yeah, no open flames, but that's where you can post your tent, get your chairs, have your cooler and stuff, and actually have a big event after you're done watching an activity in the soccer stadium.
Outstanding, cool. So tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., make sure that you're on, what are the website that they go to?
Axs.com, that's AXS.com. Be in a waiting room early. Make sure you get those tickets.
Okay, AXS.com, guys, get your tickets tomorrow. Justin, thanks for your time. Back to you guys in the studio.
So we're releasing those silver tickets that get you into the soccer stadium, but we're also releasing some gold tickets that get you into the tennis stadium. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this, but the first batch we released sold out in 18 minutes. So if you're watching this before 10 a.m. Pacific time, get online right now.
Because once you get in, not only is there the competition, but in case you missed it, Rogue's going to bring out some of that classic CrossFit Games gear that you just probably don't have at your gym, and you might get to experience in similar conditions exactly what previous Games athletes did.
Before we can get fully excited about the Games, we need to kiss the regionals goodbye. And what better way to do that than with our top 10 moments from the regional competitions? Here we go, number 10, photo finish.
Starting in the Central East, Jackie, event number 1. Closest finish in regionals history. 5 athletes within 0.6 of a second of each other. Joe Weigel took the overall event win.
Number 9, down in Latin America, We the People.
It was a festive party in Guayaquil, Ecuador. Folks were celebrating genuine CrossFit with a truly Latin flair. These guys were living La Vida Loca.
Number 8, in the Southwest, yes, he, Chan.
Matt Chan answered any questions we had about did he still have what it takes in his mid-30s coming back from a severe knee injury. The answer is yes, still kicking ass. He has won every regional he's ever competed in as an individual.
Number 7, the NorCal Bear.
Look at this guy, he's like a big teddy bear. He's not like a mean bear. Jason Kalipa took first place in 5 events in the Northern California Regional, proving that the former Games champion is ready to make a run for the podium.
Number 6, welcome to the party.
46% of the athletes that qualified from regionals for the 2013 Reebok CrossFit Games are rookies. Fans will have many new faces to cheer for in Carson, California.
Number 5, she's number 1.
Thank you, Heather Welsh, from all the female CrossFitters out there. We know this happens, and you chose to put it on display in the deadlift box jump workout. And then you proved to us that you're a whiz at the burpee muscle up workout.
Number 4, back in action.
After breaking her back in 2011 and being told by her doctor that she would never squat again, Lindy Wall won 3 out of the last 4 events in the highly competitive Central East region en route to a 3rd place finish overall.
Number 3, the drive for 5.
Elizabeth Akinwale was on fire. She won 5 of 7 events, setting the event record in the deadlift box jump workout. She would go on to win the North Central Regional.
Number 2, they are the leaders of the pack.
Not only did the defending champs win every event and set 5 event records in the Southwest Regional, their JV team took 3rd place in the Southwest and also qualified for the Games.
And finally, number 1, the hat trick.
Hi, I'm Rich Froning, 2-time winner of the CrossFit Games, and guess what? You're not. Catch me if you can. This guy won 3 of the events at the Central East Regional en route to an overall win. Will he turn this hat trick into a 3-peat at the 2013 Reebok CrossFit Games?
I mean, choosing 10 of these was tough. We probably could have had, we could have had 25, 30 of these, really.
We've got, everything from, Jen Jones moving regions, dominating South Central, opening up a spot in Mid-Atlantic, Michelle Crawford now earning her spot to go to the game. So just some cool stuff going down.
And what about Sam Briggs? I mean, putting it all out on the line, opening with 175 when she had never completed a triple at that weight ever before.
I loved that crazy moment. That was one of my favorites, but also just a little bit of levity. You got Dan Bailey with the whole Broflex thing going on, busting out the mullet even after something. Yeah, I mean, that's just cool as hell.
We could go on all night, but that is going to do it for us. For Pat Sherwood and Nicole Christensen, I'm Sean Woodland. We'll be back in a couple of weeks to get you ready for the Games and talk about who could wind up on the podium. We'll see you then.